if we really think about our network, like it doesn't just stop within our industry, right? Like we have realtor, you guys are the realtors, got the mortgage side, we got our lawyers set up, we got the appraisers, we got the stagers, we got whatever,
Construction workers.
we got the construction where we got the trades, whatever you need.
Plumbers, electricians,
electrical, drywall.
What do you need?
Foundation poured. You need concrete. You need landscaping. You need, you need audio visual. You need a podcast done. We got some guys. We got, we have it. We have that network set up, right? It's.
I know we laugh about it, but it's imperative.
Service.
Yeah, it's imperative. Welcome, everybody. This is the first episode of the Bottom Line podcast. My name's Luca.
I'm Tony.
I'm Mike.
And
Antonio. You can call me Antonio, but you can call me Tony too.
Tony,
Antonio.
Antonio.
You can call me Michael.
Yeah.
Michael.
Me, I'm just
Michael
Luca.
Just Luca. 4 letters.
4 letters. It's simple.
1 name.
2 syllables. Don't forget the name type of thing. No, I'm just kidding. So this is our first episode of the Bottom Line podcast. I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, what are these guys doing creating a podcast?
Where do you get off?
Where do we get off, right?
How dare you?
Yeah, but we got a lot of stuff to share. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. So we figured what better way than to put into a podcast and try to reach the masses, right? So thank you for tuning in. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, obviously related to real estate, financing. You do mortgages, right?
That's what I do. Apparently, these days, that's my thing. I'm in the mortgage industry. I've been in the mortgage industry for the last 3 years. It's the best. It's the best job in the world. You get to help people out. You get to help people do what they aspire to do. Help them reach their goals through financing. Right? We provide people with mortgages to be able to have a place to live. Right? It's pretty big deal. I'd say. Right? Along with people who are investing, trying to get their build their wealth up. We find creative ways to assist in tapping into equity and such. So it's a great little gig, and I work alongside 2 phenomenal realtors, right? Mike and Luca.
Yeah, we've been doing this for about 3 years now as agents. So about before that, though, I was in the automotive industry originally.
I forgot about that.
A long time ago.
Yeah, even I forgot about that. Wow.
Yeah, that was so. We've always been in sales. I've always been in sales, and then got my first house a couple of years ago, and I realized like how important that is, like buying your first property, and it showed me like, wow, like people really need help with their homes, right? So that's why I got into being a realtor.
And you have a construction background too, right?
Yes. So I also like just the general, like the architecture of the homes, right? So what about you, Lou?
Yeah, no. Obviously, Mike and I work together. For those of us who don't know us, but for those of you that do, you know that we work together. We're with Remax. Again, been in it for 3 years. We love what we do. Can credit it probably to Mike that got us into this profession, because he
got to do it
during COVID.
He put his foot on my throat, and not literally, obviously, but said we gotta get our license, because we've been wanting to do it for a very long time. So yeah, we didn't look back. We got our license during COVID. Crushed it, to be honest. I'm not going to toot our own horn here, but we crushed it pretty quick.
How quickly?
How quickly? Yeah,
got 100% on the test.
Yeah.
we were done like 6 months, no?
Yeah, we did. We did well, but
we zoomed through it.
We zoomed through it. Yeah, and we haven't looked back since. I have an education background, so I like to bring that to the table when we're working with clients, obviously, because not everybody knows the ins and outs of real estate, even financing as well. And to educate somebody, to educate a first-time buyer, to educate an investor, somebody who's looking to sell their house, and bring them through the steps and making sure they know what they're doing, right? Because a lot of people don't always get that chance to, they can invest, they can buy, they can sell, but they don't get that chance to actually learn about the process. And I think that's huge. It's massive, especially if you're going to continue to buy and sell
100%.
down the road. So education is what I try to bring to the table, as well as market trends and things like that. So what about you?
Yeah. Essentially for me, I know that we're going to be doing this podcast to kind of, bring some value to people's lives and as you mentioned, we both have an education background, so educating people on the various market trends, the process, the ability to use mortgage products to advance your position, from a financial standpoint. You don't learn a lot about that in school. It's not basic curriculum nowadays, right? So we sure as hell didn't learn about it in school. So that's something that we definitely like to bring forward. For me, I just think also that this, using the podcast platform in 2023 is very advantageous to us, right? And to our viewers, listeners. What is it?
Followers, viewers. I don't like the word followers.
Followers.
Like, who are we? We're not God. I'm
No.
sure right? I like viewers. I like
viewers, subscribers,
subscribers,
or whatever it may be. So, we're just trying to reach our network, our extended network, and get out there to have people get to know us a little bit more personally, by sharing experiences and maybe shedding light on certain topics in the mortgage industry and real estate. I know that we like to possibly assist people in navigating through some of the stuff that's out there, right?
There's a lot of stuff.
Like, there's a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah, online. I mean, a lot of information out there that's really
lots of info.
Yeah. It's misguiding. Some of it's correct. There's some good info on there, but it's kind of hard to navigate through all that, right? So,
particularly where are we talking?
The gram.
The gram.
We're talking about the gram for sure. That's what it is,
for
right?
the gram. No, and you know what? Like you guys mentioned, that's probably one of the main reasons why we wanted to start a podcast.
Yeah.
We talk to each other for every day 45 minutes
every morning
easily.
Yeah.
Just chatting about the market, chatting about trends and things that are going on within our industry, and we figured this is the time that we need to bring it to the podcast and let people hear I guess our side of how things are going. And like you said, there's a lot of, and you too, To, a lot of things that are misleading around our industry. That's not to say, like you said, everything is misleading, but like we're trying to shed some light on that and show people how to navigate through.
Yeah, there's certain practices that you guys and myself, we kind of use every day to ensure that we're going in the right direction when it comes to navigating through the bullshit, for
what it is. Yeah,
it's what
bullshit online.
Do they bleep that one out?
I think so. That's gonna get probably bleeped out, or we could keep it. I don't know,
No,
whatever.
keep it.
Right? But we
swearing.
just keep going in that regard. Like it's back to that point. We ourselves know how to siphon through things, right?
Yeah.
That's probably not credible. Oh, that's actually a good point. I'm going to research that a little bit more. Where to go? What do we use to ensure that we're making informed, educated decisions?
Yeah.
Why keep that information to ourselves? Why keep those tools to ourselves? So, guys like you who personally, you guys, how many properties?
So that's
you guys have been you've been in the game. You know what you're doing, and you haven't just tried it. You haven't just rolled the dice. You passed go a couple times.
Yeah, made a couple of mistakes too, right? But that's why we have this experience now, right? That's why we can come on here and talk about it and in simple terms explain what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah, the simple terms part, I think, is
simple,
imperative, right? Yeah, we're not going to talk like that, right? We're not going to use that vocabulary that it's very not relatable to everybody, right? So we're going to simplify things, the do's and don'ts, the ABCs, right? And make investing and
purchasing,
financing, all these different components of the real estate
selling.
And from every aspect, every first time home buyers, how do they invest? Investors looking to get their second home, right? How do they invest get into the market, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And to touch on our experience in the industry, we've been realtors for 3 years, mortgage broker for 3 years, but we've been investing, I'd say, for 10, something like that.
Yeah, it's been about 10.
Close to 10 years. And like Mike said, we've made mistakes along the way, and we've made some great investments along the way, right? So we definitely want to bring that to whoever's listening, whoever's watching, because
share it. Yeah, you can share your 100%. Story.
Mistakes happen too, right, in the industry.
Yeah.
But we learn from them, and we've gained, I guess you could say, some great returns from those mistakes, because we had turned left or we turned right when we had to, and that's definitely benefited us. But we definitely want to bring that to our viewers and help them if they're investing, if they're purchasing for themselves, or if they're selling, right? I guess you could say we got some skin in the game, right? We got
Yeah,
some skin in the
100%.
game, and we can definitely help with that. So I'd say that's our why we're doing the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, the reach, the value, the education, right? The opportunity, the fact that this is, this is not, it's not 1990. You're not realtors starting a business or having clientele that, don't have access to internet. Like pretty much this is the best tool to possibly use nowadays to reach people. And that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Get out there, boys.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
We gotta do.
It's going to be great. I'm actually pretty excited for this.
Yeah.
I think
So-
we've got a good setup.
Yeah, it's a good setup. I don't think that we can argue with the decor,
Thumbs up.
the whole
Thumbs up.
world in our hands over there, right? So, so what are we going to jump into right away? What do you want to talk about? Did you tell us enough about yourself?
I guess
Give
so,
us
yeah.
a little more.
Should I give you a little bit
Give me a little
more?
more skin.
A little more
Okay.
substance.
Give us a little more skin in the
I'm
game.
a Vaughan boy. I grew up in Vaughan my whole life. I don't know if
Okay,
that-
yeah.
Since we were talking about that earlier, I grew up in Vaughan. I have an incredible passion for real estate. I have a big sales background too. I used to work for Rogers all throughout university in sales, so that kind of propelled me in that sense. I never would have guessed I was half decent at sales, and then I jumped into Rogers, and
You're
I'm like,
okay.
"Oh,
You're okay.
I might be half decent at this."
Yeah,
I think that's kind of
humble. Eh?
I think that's what triggered me
Yeah.
to get into this. Well, not really. I mean, we invest ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And coupled with sales, coupled with we love being around people, coupled with we love a lot of couples. We love being we love being we love helping
Just
people.
a
We love
couple of
assisting people,
beauties.
right?
We also love the competitive aspect
Oh.
of like the negotiation part.
That goes without
That's
said.
the best part.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that
thrill,
goes without
the
said.
thrill.
Yeah.
Thrill of
It feels rewarding, right? Like when you get the job done, you're also helping your client as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah.
you guys are both winning, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. And yeah, I mean, when you have your client's best interests in mind, right, you're always going to succeed together, right?
exactly.
Real estate is about succeeding together. Like whenever you're working with a realtor, at least this is how I feel. Whenever you're working with a realtor, it's a partnership. It's not, somebody working for somebody. It's a two-way street. There's got to be great communication. There's got to be a great understanding of each other. There's got to be a synergy, I guess you could say, right?
I like that.
That-
That's a good word.
Yeah, it's a good word. It's a big word. Comes from my education background. Yeah, no, there's got to be a synergy between you and your client or clients, because at the end of the day, if they succeed with their sale or their purchase or their investment, you're going to succeed. And not only that, the referrals that come
Yeah, it
from
spirals,
that
right?
after the fact, right?
100%.
Mike and I, and even you, I would presume that we work a lot based on referrals.
Yeah, and just before we move on from it, that synergy component that you're talking about, I think that's what makes this
This
team
thing?
right here
I think we know each other, no?
quite well,
little
right?
This isn't our first
you
time
two are
meeting.
cousins, so obviously lifelong relationship. I've been friends with you guys for over 20 years. We work well together, right? There hasn't been one client that we've worked on collaboratively that has complained or hasn't been over the top, satisfied with, the experience, right? And that's that synergy, right? That you're talking about, that it's invaluable, right? Like it can't be topped,
Yeah.
No.
right? Our communication with each other throughout the entire process, right? I love that you brought that up, because we're not just transaction based people, right? It's a service, it's a partnership, right? That I literally have that on my postcards, right? It's an ongoing partnership,
Yeah.
right? From beginning to end, right? The start of the process and your first time buying, your second property, your third property, how we're going to refinance this property to pull out and buy that pre-con or buy this commercial building or whatever it may be. I'm there the whole way, right? And you guys are there the whole way. It's a ongoing, lifelong partnership.
And there's a lot of handoffs. For example, like they got to start with you, then they come to us, and they go back to you.
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Easy.
So
yeah,
that happens often.
We're like the relay team, right? Three-way relay team over here, but
Usually there's four.
there's four.
We're still
right?
looking for that.
We're
other
looking for
person.
that fourth anchor. if you're out there and you want to
Come
come
find us.
join the squad.
They're going to be the anchor. Is that how?
Is
that how it is?
Well, we lead it up.
Yeah.
Where's Usain Bolt when
I
you need
guess.
it,
Yeah.
right?
One thing we can promise you is that we're going to be engaging, we'll be entertaining, and we'll be informative for sure, right? Like we're not here to
For clout?
Yeah, we're not
Yeah,
here for
no,
clout.
no.
There you
Not
go.
here for
Thank you.
clout.
See, this is the synergy you were talking
I
about.
know,
Right?
but yeah.
We're not here for clout. We're here to, be entertaining, informative, and we definitely want to bring value to you guys for sure.
That's number one. That's
number one.
That's the bottom line.
That
That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line.
wow.
Right?
You know what? When you came up with that name for the podcast, I thought you were onto something there, buddy. I thought you were onto something. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
I'm not bad.
It's not bad. It's pretty
hey,
good.
let me ask this then, since we talked about ourselves and we kind of got that out there for the people that don't fully know us yet. But what do you plan on bringing to the podcast? What do you plan on, chatting about? What kind of topics do you think we're going to chat about in your industry, obviously?
Well, definitely, people need a little bit more information, I think, personally, from my interactions with individuals, more information about the stress test, okay, here in Canada, because that's the biggest hurdle nowadays, especially with
Big stressor.
elevated with elevated interest rates. Right. So the stress test, I want to get into that, and just fully have people understand the concept. Honestly, some may argue the benefits of it as well for our overall system here in Canada.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, we haven't we're avoiding 08 here in Canada because of the stress test.
Yeah.
It sucks, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
I also want to make sure that we touch upon the overall mortgage application process, right? And
It's a
beginning
doozy.
to end, the do's, the don'ts, right? There's a lot of don'ts, but there's a lot of do's, and we're going to touch on all of those. And lastly, I just want to educate a little bit and shed light on what actually influences mortgage rates, both on the fixed and on the variable side, right? And the Bank of Canada interest rate announcements are always, that looming topic on the news, but there's other things that impact mortgage rates, and I want to make sure that people are aware of that. Right? They don't think I make. Some people think I make up the interest rates when I have conversations with them. No, it's not me.
I gotta
But
stop.
I got a guy.
I gotta stop telling my clients.
I got a guy.
It's always Tony's making the rates for you guys.
It's not me. It's not me. What about you, Mike? What do you want to make
Main
sure
topics?
we dial in on?
Yeah, let's. I want to talk about just the market in general, like for our side, like me and Lou, in terms of the. Can you time it? Can you not time it?
And
Right.
that's the ultimate question.
That's
right?
a big
Trying to time the market since when?
We hear that a lot
2012?
with our clients. It's like one of our biggest hurdles, I'd say.
Yeah.
Right?
Trying to time the market. Yeah.
Another one would be the investors. So getting your first home already a hurdle. Let's talk about getting the second home. How do you get it, right? Well, Tony, you probably touch on that too.
100%. Well, that's
So-
where we overlapped, and that synergy comes back.
Yeah.
Right?
And then the biggest one, this is my pet peeve for sure, is what we were talking about a little bit earlier, but the Instagram, the media, the social media, like what's out there,
Yeah.
right? Like just
That one makes you tick, eh, Mike?
it's a lot of bullshit, man. To be honest, you're seeing someone work out, and then after posting about pre-cons and all that, we'll get into it more. We have some good examples of what we see, but that just
What upsets you?
Just-
The working out.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's the working out, and then the pre-cons, bad information. Yeah, it's like if you want to work out, no problem.
We'll dive
I'm all
into
for
those.
it,
Yeah.
but maybe make a workout page.
Yeah.
90% of your content's working out.
A good thing I don't
Make it
work
more
out.
More balance.
Yeah, a little more balance.
Yeah.
I don't want to rip anyone apart.
You
but
can avoid that very easily, though. You just don't need to work out. If you don't work
Yeah,
out, then you don't.
problem solved.
That's my
Problem solved.
right. I solved that problem
That's
pretty
your
easily.
forte.
Yeah.
Those are the main ones I want to talk about. What about you, Lou?
No, when it comes to me, I'd say something similar to that. Obviously, we're all going to touch on that, but I would definitely want to touch upon how to get into the market if you're a first-time buyer, and I definitely want to touch on how to prep your home when you're thinking of selling, or if even if it's in the back of your mind, like, yeah, I'm going to sell in 2, 3, 4 years. What should I be doing to get my home ready to make sure I maximize the dollar that I'm going to get from my home? Because at the end of the day, it is for most people, it's their biggest investment, right? So people are always thinking, I know not everybody's looking to sell all the time, but people are always thinking about the real estate market. If you own a home, you're always looking at what's happening in your area. You're always looking at current market conditions. So we're definitely going to touch on that. And we're definitely going to touch on how you can prep your home to make sure that when you get to the market, you're there, and you're there to sell, and you're there to make the best number that you can possibly make, right? I do want to say this though. there's a reason why all three of us are doing this together, right? You don't see a lot of podcasts with, mortgage brokers and realtors together on every single episode. You might see a feature here and there, but there's a ton of stuff to talk about, right?
Mhm.
So there's a reason why we're doing it together. One, it was that synergy that we talked about. And two, it's because at the end of the day, when you're purchasing or selling real estate, you need to have both sides of the ball, right? You got to have your financing in order, and you got to have a realtor that's looking out for your best interest, or realtors that's looking out in your best interest. And that's the reason why we're doing this, because we want to provide full value to everybody, right?
Just like we provide full service,
Full service, full
right?
value.
We provide full service on a regular basis.
Glasses half full, right?
No, it's full. It's full.
Glass is full.
To the brim.
Yeah, no, and like you get a lot of features on podcasts, which is great too, obviously, right? But we figured anytime we're talking about investing in a podcast, we got a guy that's going to talk about how we need to invest.
How do you get there? How do you get the funds?
Anytime we talk about purchasing a home for the first time, it's not just the realtor side that you got to worry about. It's obviously the financing side too, and others as well, which we're going to talk about our network and how we can connect people with our network that we've built, even before real estate, to be honest, when we were investing and through our connections.
Absolutely. Even if like I was thinking about this the other day, I know kind of going off topic a little bit here, but it's a podcast. So
it's the bottom line.
It's the bottom line. And if we really think about our network, like it doesn't just stop within our industry, right? Like we have realtor, you guys are the realtors, got the mortgage side. We got our lawyers set up. We got the appraisers. We got the stagers. We got whatever.
Construction workers.
We got the construction where we got
build
the
a house
trades.
from the ground up.
Whatever you need.
Plumbers, electricians,
electrical, drywall.
What do you need?
Foundation poured. You need concrete. You need landscaping. You need, you need audio visual. You need a podcast done. We got some guys. We got, we have it. We have that network set up, right? It's
I know we laugh about it, but it's imperative.
Service.
Yeah, it's imperative. Yeah. Especially there's a lot of clients that reach out to us that are, thinking of buying land, thinking of buying a property, tearing it down, building a bigger house.
We have those guys.
Start to
and
finish.
Girls.
Yeah. Start to finish.
A to Z.
Girls.
Yeah, we can. It's
The
2023.
We have those people.
We have the people.
Humans?
We have the people. We have the right people to get you across the finish line.
Yeah.
Right. And that's essentially that's what the bottom line is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we said so.
No, it's exciting. we're definitely gonna bring some value, and we're excited for it. Maybe we should talk about why we called the podcast The Bottom Line. Maybe that's something we should touch on in this first episode.
Well, number one, it's a fantastic name. It rolls off the tongue. It's fantastic.
I don't know who came up with it.
It's the bottom line. It's very creative. It's actually ingenious. I don't know, right? But no, the bottom line is essentially what everybody should be focused on in the end, right? Of every transaction, it's your bottom line that you should be concerned about, right? Was it a good investment? Was it a bad investment? It's the bottom line. What's the bottom line, right? Like,
look at your numbers.
Go look at your numbers. We're numbers guys, right? We got a human calculator here to my right, right?
1 + 1 is 2.
Right. and we've got the guy who knows, about, the ROI like this. What's the MSRP, right? These are all the questions that, the answers to instantly, right? You're talking about cars, right? That's back to his automotive days, right? So the bottom line is what it's all about, right? In the end, or when it comes to financing and in real estate. So I think that it's a very correct synergistic name, right, to go with that same theme. But it flows. It flows.
And I think it's important to mention it's not going to be your average podcast that you just listen to on whatever, Instagram, Apple Music, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. It's gonna be different. It's definitely gonna be different. We're gonna have some cool features actually integrated into the podcast too, which will be pretty cool. You might even see it on this episode. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But it's gonna be something that's fast paced, and it's gonna be something that you can definitely get value from really quickly. So we're excited about that. And that being said, Is there anything else we should include into this introduction here of our podcast?
People know who we are. And
Yeah.
if they don't know who we are, we just mentioned it already. I'm Tony. It's Luca.
Rewind,
That's
go back
Mike.
to the beginning.
What about our
And
what
this is the
about
Bottom Line Podcast.
what about how we're gonna end every podcast with the bottom line? So what's your bottom line? How are we gonna end this
Yeah.
this first episode with your bottom line, Tony?
My bottom line is this. If you're looking for a podcast where you're going to get some very valuable information in a very simple manner related to real estate, related to mortgages, this is the Bottom Line Podcast, and this is where you want to be.
I like that. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, my bottom line is very similar to Tony's. It's just if you want good information, clean information that's simple to understand, listen to our podcast.
Yeah, I would agree. If you're looking for tips on how to prep properties, how to invest, how to get into the market as an investor or as a first-time buyer, we're gonna give you all those tips. We're gonna give you as much knowledge and experience. I think that's the biggest thing, experience that we've been through already, and we're definitely gonna share that with our subscribers, listeners, viewers, whatever you want to call yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. That's
Yeah.
the bottom
And we
line.
won't be working out too much.
I think
and,
that's-
Yeah.
showing our cars.
Yeah, no, there will be no cars in this
No, no.
podcast.
No cars.
There will be no dumbbells. There will be no. Yeah, I'll leave it.
You
at
might have to
There will
pay
be no
out. You
sushi.
might have to pay out the car if you want to qualify.
We'll get into that.
You might have to pay it.
We'll
It's
get
too
into
much of a liability.
that. Yeah, it
Big
is.
liability.
Yeah.
Whatever, boys. That's the bottom line.
Till next episode, we'll see you guys in a bit.